Hello everybody, it's Jenny McGarvey and I am happy to be back with you sharing a process video. I created this video using the Scraptastic Club January 2016 Just a Girl kit and add-on. It's been a while since I have made a video since it was the busy part of the year and I have to really kind of take some time off because the videos can take so long. But anyway, as you can see, I have a few sheets of paper already pulled out from the kit that I'd like to use. The two that I have right there, a sheet of white textured cardstock and then a piece of patterned paper with that watercolory ombre effect on the paper. And then I'm trimming up a piece of paper that has just cut aparts, 3x4 and 4x6, that I know that I will use as the main focus of my page. I have both of those background papers out though because I can't decide which one to use. I've been using a lot of pattern paper in the last year, so I kind of was feeling like, oh yeah, of course, that's what I'm going to use. But then I realized, no, the white might pop a little bit more and might give it more the look that I want, which is super simple, super linear. And so ultimately I did decide to go with that after looking at both of those papers a little bit more set out that way. But I think either one could have been a fantastic choice. Now, as you can see, I have the basic design for my page set up right there. It was really fairly simple. I just trim at first a 4x6 piece of that patterned paper, the watercolory ombre one, to put behind those two cards that I have layered together. But then I decided it's a little bit big because I want a little bit of an offset for those two layers. So I just trim it up and then it's absolutely perfect. So I just leave them there and then I'm going to adhere around them, which is totally weird since I'm not picking them up or anything like that. But I often find that if I pick them completely up, then I can't get them back the way that I had them, even if I take a photograph or something like that. And then I'm just super disappointed and it never feels quite right. So it was just easier for me to work around it and kind of pull up corners and do it like that. Side note, do you see the back of that watercolory paper is that beautiful floral? I absolutely love it. I couldn't think of a use for it right that second, so I'm just using the watercolor side. I'm pulling out some of the exclusive die cuts that came in the kit because I knew I wanted to create a little cluster behind this sheet, and they would just be simple, not a big deal because I'm not going crazy with this page. I really wanted it to be linear and not overly embellished, but I found a couple of these acetate jewels that are super cute, and I wasn't actually sure how I was going to use them, but then I figured they'd be fantastic here, layered behind the two layered pieces of patterned paper. So I'm just going to put them a little bit off kilter right behind and then adhere the whole piece down. And so then now it's absolutely perfect and exactly what I envisioned. Now I'm pulling out my Thermoweb foam squares and I'm going to adhere that little die cut on top of those jewels. You see that right there? The Thermoweb are absolutely my favorite. I'm sure everyone has a favorite. That one is just mine. I love the dimension. They're really very thick and I like that a lot. Much, much more so than other brands where I sometimes find that I have to double up to get the height that I like. I mean, I figure if I'm going to use foam squares, I might as well use foam squares, right? So anyway, now I'm good with that little center portion for now. So I'm going to mat my photo, which is of a dog playing pie face. Don't worry, there were no injuries to this dog. The dog didn't even actually play pie face, but it is just such a funny photo. I felt like I had to scrap it. So, and it was a really good story and it worked out great for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere it very close to the edge on the right side, not completely touching, but very close. And then I'm going to be looking through my embellishments, trying to figure out how I'd like to add further embellishments to this page because I do want to use some of those Heidi Swapp labels and I do want to use some of those Becky Higgins chipboard pieces because I think that they'd be a really cute addition. But for now, I'm going to just trim up this sheet of exclusive pattern paper, just a diagonal strip for the bottom that's kind of what did I just say? I don't know. Anyway, so it's kind of diagonal at the bottom. And then I will also use a little strip of that watercolor paper as well to layer those two strips at the very bottom and kind of anchor the whole page down there. Now I'll adhere them together and leave a little bit more of the watercolor on the one side and a little bit more of the squares on the right side, and it'll all just feel a little bit mismatched, which is really honestly kind of my perfect way to scrap anyway. So now they're all adhered together, or that's actually what you can see I'm working on, and then I'll adhere them also to the bottom of the page. So now I like, once you see that, I like how that it really kind of draws your eye to the bottom too, instead of only to the center, and that it feels kind of lonely. Now that oh wow die cut, I'm going to adhere right there on the picture of the dog. It's just so funny and so perfect of a picture of a dog playing pie face. I mean, seriously, that's so random. Anyway, so that's perfect right there, and I absolutely love it. And then it adds a little bit more interest to the photo, and it doesn't just take your eye to the center of that little cluster that's right there, and where I'm going to also add the title here in a second. Now there's a lot of embellishments to choose from, and I knew that I wanted to use these Heidi Swapp acetate words for the title. And so when I looked on the back and I turned it over and I saw that silliness was one of the words, I was all about it. But anyway, first let's talk about the little square that I'm putting up in the corner. Just again, something to draw your eye to the top as well. Since I had that whole pattern paper at the bottom, I thought it might be nice to add something up in that corner, especially since ultimately I'll also have a little bit of journaling right below there. So it makes sort of the right side of the page a little bit stronger. Anyway, here are those Heidi Swapp words I was talking about. And like I said, when I turned it over and I saw silliness was one of the words, it was absolutely perfect for this photo of the dog playing pie face because, I mean, really, what is a dog playing pie face if not silliness? So totally perfect, totally awesome. I love that it's black because if it had been white, it wouldn't have fit as well either. So it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm just using my ATG gun to adhere it down. You can see the adhesive a little bit, but it doesn't bother me whatsoever. And since I'm going to add a little bit more title work with the thickers, I figured it really actually totally didn't matter because you're really not going to be drawn to looking at the silliness and the slight view of adhesive underneath. So I'm just spelling out total on top of the silliness, so for total silliness, because obviously, as we've already discussed, that is exactly what a dog playing pie face is total silliness. And I like the contrast between the really up and down, straight and narrow total, and then the silliness is that fun script, and I thought that was really a fun thing. Now that I've got the title, I can add just a little bit more embellishing just because, you know, I know exactly where it's going to go, how it's going to fit, and what I still need. So I'm pulling out some of those little chipboard, a little small banner, and adding it to that cluster I originally had at the top, and it's really totally the perfect piece to add right there. It really just worked out great. And I love the black because it adds the contrast and goes with the title and sort of pulls it all together. And then that also that little 3x4 square of patterned paper underneath as well that has the little bit of black and white in it too. Now I wanted to add more of the chipboard stickers because they're really cool and there's a lot of really fun ones in there. However, I just sort of decided not to and looked through some of the rest of the embellishments and then came up with this. It's a brush stroke cut from vellum, a die cut from vellum, I should say. And it was really cool and I really wanted to use it. And I wasn't exactly sure initially how it would go. But then I decided it might be fun layered behind some of the journaling because it's really bright and it's really bold, but it adds sort of a whimsical feel too. So I figured, okay, I'm not going to leave it like that, but I want to add some strips of cardstock to have some journaling. So I adhered the vellum die cut with the ATG gun and then also trimmed up some 1/2-inch strips of white cardstock. It's not textured, so you can definitely tell the difference between it and the background. And I'm just going to journal on top of those once I get them all adhered where I want them to be. I figured it was a good way to sort of break up the journaling from the background. I could have absolutely positively just done it right on top of the background. I wouldn't have had to add the the cardstock strips, but I figured why not? It's fun. It's a different way, like I said, to break it up and sort of change it a little bit. So there we go. And then just one more right at the top, and then that's it. Because I am telling the story of the dog playing pie face, but I'm not getting into a really in-depth account of what happened. So it's really kind of enough for me. So I varied the lengths of those pieces of cardstock, and then I'm just using an old black Creative Memories marker to do the journaling. And because I know I only have a limited number of strips of patterned paper, I really had to give it some thought before I did the journaling, because I wouldn't want to run over, because I wouldn't really have that many options for where to put any additional journaling. So now, aside from adding a label sticker for the date and a few little enamel dots, that's really it for this page. It's very simple, very linear, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this look at how I created this page, and if you did enjoy the video, I would super appreciate it if you left me a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know what you like to watch, and it lets me know that you enjoyed the video as well. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and make it a great day.